to day 1 of the rest of your life. This is Tracy from Esther 414 Ministries. Thanks a lot for watching. Let me ask you a question. What is it about being right that we feel like we have to be right? It doesn't like justify ourselves or something where, when someone, they do something and you kind of like warn them about it and they come back and you find out about it and you're like, I told you so. I knew it. Didn't I call it? Did I not call it? Oh my goodness, that's just terrible. And I used to actually be one of the worst at this until the Lord kind of really confronted it with me and made me realize that that's not really extending grace, okay? And another thing, it's pride, because we feel like we have to be right. I'm right, you're wrong. And that's how it goes. Well, there's a story here in the Bible, and it kind of addresses this issue. Let me read part of it to you. We're going to be in Luke chapter 15, and it's going to be verse 20, and this is how it reads. And while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. Now, we jumped right in the middle of a story here, and this story, it's a popular story, and a lot of people know it. It's called The Prodigal Son, and Jesus tells this story, and it's about a rich man, and he had 2 sons, and one of the sons, I believe it was the younger son, he decides one day, I want what's mine. I only want my fair share. I want what's coming to me, and I want my inheritance right now. I don't want to wait till you're dead, Dad. What fun is that? I want to enjoy it now. So, what does the father do? Well, unbelievably, okay, the dad says, all right, son, I'll give you your inheritance right now, and you can have it. Well, so the son is just like, yeah, happy day is here. I have scored. And what does the son do? Well, he runs as far as he can go because, he doesn't want anybody around who knows him who can say, wait a minute, aren't you such and such? Don't you know better than that? Because what does he do with all of this money that he just suddenly came into? Well, he does what most people do when they come into an enormous amount of money and they haven't had all that before and they've got their freedom. He went out and he blew it. He had drugs, he had drinking, he had women, he had all sorts of friends that you could buy. He partied it up. He lived a wild and reckless life. That's how the Bible kind of explains it. It was reckless, all right? And you can put all sorts of images in your mind to fill in the blanks there. Well, when the money's gone, who's gone? The friends are gone. All of a sudden, who was that? I don't know who he was. They don't know him, okay? He's without a dime. He's without a place. He doesn't know what to do. And so what do we do when we've made a bad decision, okay? And it's kind of cost us. The last thing we want to do is admit defeat. I wasn't wrong. Maybe I spent my money badly or something, but I was not wrong. And I'm certainly not going to admit defeat on this one. I'm not going back home. There's no way I'm doing that one. So what does he do? He goes out and now he has to find a job, okay? So the place that he can go to, that he found a job, was working on a pig farm. This guy's Jewish, and pigs are considered an unclean animal, so it's not exactly the best combination there. But now he's working for a pig farmer, and what's he doing? He's throwing the food to the pigs, which are little pods or something, and this guy's starving, and so I'm sure he's kind of like sliding one on the side, trying to get something to eat, but he's thinking, man, I just want what these pigs are eating. This is terrible. I have no place to sleep. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then finally, sometimes it just takes us getting to the end of ourselves for the Lord to finally bring us to our senses to say, just admit you made a mistake, okay? Just admit it. How wrong is it to say, I was wrong? And sometimes that's really hard for us to do because then we have to admit we're not perfect. We made a bad decision. It's like some flaw on our character or something that we have to make all correct decisions, like we're not human, that we're up there with God, which we're not. So that right there is so bad in God's eyes because you're putting yourself like an idol. All right, so you don't want to do that. So as hard as it is sometimes, you have to ask the Lord, please help me, Lord. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. help me to move forward and make the right decisions now. So this is what the son did. He finally came to his senses. The Lord allowed him to come to his senses. And it takes God to admit defeat at times, and most of the time. He's thinking, oh, if I just go back to my dad's house and I just say, please forgive me. I don't have to live in the main house. I know you've got servants and you take great care of them. You house them, you feed them, and I could work for you, Dad. If you just let me, you don't even have to pay me. Just let me live here so I can eat. And so he's groveling, he's thinking, oh God, I'm so sorry. Please let my dad forgive me. And as he's dragging himself over the miles, he's going over what he's going to say to Dad. But what happens? This is where we're at in our verse. Dad has been watching for his son. Dad's not there to kick him and to say, I told you so. You made such a bad decision. You blew half of my money because I'm still alive, okay? And you took your share, you went out, and you blew the whole thing. Now look at you. You look a disgusting mess. That is not what the dad did here. He extended grace and he said, I am so glad to see you. He gave him such a big hug and he kissed him and he called his servants and he said, get a robe for my son. Make a great big meal. And he took his ring off of his finger and he gave it to his son. And it was a signet ring, which gave him power. It meant, I have the same authority that my dad has. And that was a huge, huge step. I mean, to extend that type of grace to a child who basically just humiliated the family by going off and doing this stuff. The dad was willing to forgive. And see, we are in the position sometimes of the dad where we've told people things and they made a huge mistake. But it's not our place to convict them. They realize they made a mistake. We need to extend that same type of grace that God extends us when we make those mistakes. God's word tells us in Matthew chapter 7, for the way that you're going to judge other people's and dish it out, it's going to come back at you. And let me tell you, I've made my share of mistakes. I've made my share of really bad decisions, but God wasn't there wanting to just condemn me and to just kick me while I was down. He just wanted me to humble myself and say, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. And he's willing to take us where we're at, lift us back up, dust us off, clean us up, and then get us back on the right path. And we need to be like that with others. We need to extend that grace. And whatever they may need, you say, I'm there for you. I can pray for you. If there's something you need and I can help you, I'll be there for you too. See, that's the way the Lord wants us to be. He wants us to extend that same type of forgiveness that he would extend to us. Well, I hope that this helped you to see things from maybe a different perspective on making bad decisions and not condemning people when they make bad decisions as well. This has been Tracy from Esther 414 Ministries with day one of the rest of your life.